I just finished watching the 2025 psychological indie horror film, Obsession. 5 out of 5. Fantastic film. The acting is over the top notch incredible. The special effects are fantastic. The editing, score, and music blend together so perfectly. Dreamy, surreal, and hypnotic. I felt like I was watching a NOS mid-90s style dark comedy indie horror flick. I got Spanking the Monkey vibes right off. Alright, let's get into it. I've been avoiding this film because it's triggering, and I've had people over the past couple of years making sly comments about witchcraft, the occult, spellcasting, and all kinds of other nonsense. I'm really fighting the urge to say certain things about my own personal experiences, and my brain needs to filter them out hard. Sometimes it's best not to say too much and continue protecting yourself and the knowledge you've gained. The story follows 4 friends who work together at a music shop. Bear, Ian, Sarah, and Nikki. Bear comes across as a weak, selfish, pathetic, dopey, incel-type dude, so I thought it was ironic that his name was Bear. Really, the cowardly lion. Bear has a huge crush on Nikki, but he's too fragile to tell her how he really feels. Deep down, I think he knows she doesn't feel the same way and would rather live inside his fantasy than risk rejection. Nikki, meanwhile, is fun, wild, and free-spirited. A woman who can't be caged, but there's a wicked shadow side lurking in the darkest corner, waiting for the right catalyst to come along and snap her alter ego into play. The film has a timeless, floaty feeling and remains deliberately ambiguous about its characters and their situations. Sarah's storyline introduces another major theme, rejection. She's applying to college and receiving rejection after rejection, while her father continues encouraging her. Rejection, avoidance. Those themes quietly run underneath the entire film. Then Bear comes home one night and finds his beloved tabby cat dead on the floor, with white pills scattered around it. He's devastated, but when Nikki calls, he doesn't even tell her what happened. During their conversation, Nikki loses a crystal down the drain. Bear eventually goes to a metaphysical shop and, instead of buying a crystal, purchases an unusual occult collectible called One Wish Willow. The woman at the counter warns him there are no refunds or returns. Bear seems intrigued. It's just a novelty, right? What could go wrong? After another disappointing night with Nikki, Bear finally turns to the One Wish Willow. He snaps it in half and makes his wish. He wants Nikki to love him more than anyone else on Earth. Boom, done deal. The game you thought you were playing is over, and an entirely different game begins. Nikki starts changing. Her obsession grows stronger. She wears more red, becomes increasingly angry and explosive. More tattoos appear. Her appearance becomes unsettling, and she begins self-harming. Everyone notices something is wrong, and the irony is that Bear finally gets exactly what he wished for, and he can't even handle it. I have to go back to the cat. The One Wish Willow box says Tabby Cat on the back like a product label. When I saw that after the cat's death, I immediately thought there had to be a connection. Then you have the pills scattered around the dead cat. I started wondering if someone had already used the One Wish Willow on his cat. Or is the cat foreshadowing Bear's own fate? The movie never gives us a simple answer, which makes the detail even more interesting. Eventually, Nikki's obsession reaches homicidal levels, and Bear calls the helpline on the back of the One Wish Willow box. A calm, subdued man answers. Bear wants to cancel the wish. The response, "Sorry, can't do that, buddy. You've got to die." The only way Nikki can become herself again is if Bear dies, and suddenly the cat, the pills, and all those earlier details feel much more significant. Another tiny detail I loved was Nikki cutting a piece of Bear's hair while he was sleeping. Whether you believe in occult practices or not, hair has historically been associated with personal connection and sympathetic magic in various traditions. It's another subtle violation of Bear's personal boundaries, and that's where I think the movie becomes much deeper. Bear doesn't really want Nikki. He wants the version of Nikki he created. He wants to override her free will, and by doing that, he destroys the real Nikki. The real Nikki wants out. She's trapped inside a version of herself that isn't really her anymore, being pulled around like a puppet by something she never asked for. The One Wish Willow version of Nikki is hell-bent on fulfilling Bear's wish at any cost. That's the horror. I also love the David Lynch influence throughout the movie. Sarah's father, played by Andy Richter, has a strange cadence and speech pattern that immediately reminded me of a Lynch character. Then there's Nikki walking backwards, almost as if reality itself is malfunctioning. final battle. She's going through a psychological and spiritual gauntlet, and the war inside her mind is playing out in the real world. Then there's the chevron patterned blanket near the end, immediately bringing Twin Peaks to mind. Finally, the film ends with an upside-down television, while the credits appear right side up, as above, so below. One reality reflecting another, one decision creating consequences somewhere else. You messed with fate. This movie captured the absolute insanity of what can happen when someone pursues their own desires without caring about another person's free will. You can't control another person. You don't get to play matchmaker. You don't get to rewrite someone's destiny because you can't handle rejection. This would make a fantastic double feature with weapons. Both films explore manipulation, obsession, control, and what happens when someone believes they're entitled to another person's life. My takeaway is simple. Protect your peace. Be careful who you allow into your personal space. Pay attention when someone's behavior starts crossing healthy boundaries. When someone starts trying to pull your strings, put that brick wall up. Throw up the peace sign. Walk away. There is way too much to comment on with this film. As simple as the story is, it's deeply layered with ideas that keep revealing themselves the more you think about it. 5 out of 5. Highly recommended.